I only have so much love and compassion for myself. And when I think about the 10-year-old me, I wish that someone had just looked at her and said, I love you so much, you are so worthy and you are safe and you don't have to deal with this by yourself. So I'm gonna tell that to you. Ooh, it's so nice to film on a bed instead. I usually always sitting on the floor of my bedroom. I'm going to Toronto tonight and I wanted to make sure to get a video in for you guys. So, hello friends. So I realized something the other day. I do post a lot of videos that show a lot of my rawness, vulnerability, and I have shared a lot of things with you guys, but I haven't ever filmed a video kind of explaining who I am, what I do, how I got to this place. So I'm gonna start a series and each of them is gonna be a my blank story. Today I'm gonna start with my anorexia story. I hesitated a little bit because I didn't know which one I wanted to do, but I think I should do them as a progression because my eating disorder journey, my quest for self-love all started with the fact that I had anorexia when I was 10 years old. So let's just start there. When I was 10, I was in school one day, and I honestly don't know what I was doing, who I was with, but I do remember outside of class or something, this boy that I had a huge crush on called me chubby, and I was blown away. I mean, I guess in my mind, I had no clue that I was chubby. And I didn't just hear the word chubby. I immediately registered fat, disgusting, ugly, everything negative. And the second I got home that day, right after school at 3 o'clock, I said, I'm not eating anymore. I basically stopped eating for a period of 8 months, and I was the same height as I am now, right under 5 feet, and I dropped 40 pounds. So I think my lowest weight was about 64 pounds, and I'm way above that now, guys. Like I'm 107 to 110, it just depends. And in my last video, you guys really let me know if it was okay with you to mention numbers or not, and I really did agree with a lot of the comments that, you know, it's my journey in my body, and you guys know for a fact that I don't think that you're supposed to be anywhere anyone else is, so I feel comfortable sharing. And I'm sorry if that triggered anyone or was uncomfortable for anybody, but I feel like just giving you a mental image of what that may have been like for me to drop so much weight and what that could have looked like was extremely skeletal. I look nothing like myself. So for 8 months, I basically ate maybe a few things every day, maybe a slice of bread, maybe a bowl of cereal, maybe a couple pieces of turkey or chicken. I honestly can't remember, and the reason why I can't remember is because I was so out of it the whole time. I was starving, I was dizzy, I was angry, I was basically delusional. My brain was not there. There was nothing fueling my body, so I had nothing to work on. Every single day that I was starving myself, it wasn't good enough. I would step on the scale and think to myself, that's not low enough. It turned into a numbers game. It really did. Every time I stepped on the scale, it needed to be smaller and smaller and smaller, and if that number wasn't small enough. But what was the goal? I mean, to hit 50 pounds? Not judging myself, it just baffles me how intense that was. And every single day, every single night, I remember running around my house, jogging up and down, doing jumping jacks, trying to burn calories as much as possible. I didn't even let myself drink water. I remember being so dehydrated all the time, never using the restroom. My body was not functioning at all in any normal sense of the word. So people around me started getting concerned. And this pissed me off because think about that mental struggle. Someone called me chubby, and that's a negative comment. I thought, okay, the way to fix this, the way to make people like me, the way for people to find me attractive is to get skinny. And still, as skinny as I got, people were still judging me. People were still saying it wasn't good enough or I shouldn't be this way. And I just started getting angry and feeling like worthless, feeling so unfulfilled, feeling so insecure. And that is why I've struggled with it so much in my lifetime, because if that stuff sticks with you, it's like you're never good enough. You're never worthy enough of people's love or attention, no matter what your body looks like or what you're doing. That effed me up So I got skinnier and skinnier, and eventually, you know, I would turn purple so easily. My lips would become purple. My hands, my fingers were purple. I'd be cold all the time. I just remember always looking around and feeling like there's a fog around my head. So 8 months later, I got really skinny and it was time for a doctor's appointment. My mom took me to the doctor and they said, wow, you've gotten really skinny. You better start eating. And I will never forget this. The doctor looked at my mom and said, okay, you're gonna start making her eat. Tonight, go buy a steak at the store, put salt and pepper on it, cook it for her, and make her eat it. I was infuriated. And looking back, that is not how you treat someone with a mental disorder. But I don't blame anyone or myself because I didn't know what was going on. My parents didn't know what was going on. The doctor didn't know what was going on. So they thought, restore your weight, get healthy, boom, problem solved. And after that, I just remember being kind of forced to eat and gain the weight back. And that was terrifying to me because everything I had worked so hard for was gone. And I never achieved anything in my head. That's how I perceived it. And so having restricted for so long, restricted my eating for so long, I developed this extremely unhealthy relationship with food. Binging, restricting. And that's why I developed horrifying binge eating disorder. From then until even, you know, a year or two ago when I really found the name of what binge eating disorder was, when I started going to therapy, when I started working on my relationship with food, my relationship with myself, and really forcing myself to face my struggles head on and say, hey, this is a huge part of your life. It's not your enemy. You need to integrate these struggles into your life and love yourself and prioritize that and find it a beautiful journey to discovering your worth and your potential. And you don't need to live like this. This isn't how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to look at food and be worried the minute you put it in your mouth you're gonna eat a whole kitchen full of food. You shouldn't look at a piece of cake and say, ooh, I don't know, I feel like that's gonna make me fat. That is not the way it's supposed to be. Anorexia is so common, and starving yourself. I want to explain it to you. What does anorexia mean and how did it impact my mental view of food, myself, and my body so much? Every family has their dysfunction. I love my family. My parents and my sister are so incredibly supportive and proud of me in my eating disorder journey, recovery, and the struggles I had with depression. And I am gonna have a depression video in this series. But growing up, we didn't talk about feelings. We didn't understand how to, and I didn't always feel like I had the nurturing that I needed from my parents. And I needed to process a lot of that in therapy because blaming people and making people feel guilt is not the way to heal, was not the way to heal for me. But confronting those issues and seeing the way that I've learned to understand them and how I started using starving myself to physically and emotionally disappear. I truly, not on a conscious level of course, but someone with an eating disorder, especially anorexia, I was starving myself to really disappear, hoping that someone would look at me and give me the nurturing that I so desperately was screaming for. And I don't, obviously at that time I didn't know I was doing that, but I was a little girl who just wanted to be loved and accepted, and I thought that if I starved myself and was thin enough, then I was beautiful and worthy of someone caring for me. And that is never something that you should punish yourself for. We hate ourselves so much for developing these eating disorders, but that is what saved me from facing a lot of issues in my family and also my inability to make friends as a kid. Like, I did not have that many friends. I didn't have the best experience at home. So this 10-year-old girl is feeling unloved and unworthy, and she needed something to distract her. And you know this, when you are starving yourself and focusing so much on the restricting and the numbers and your weight going lower and lower and lower, you know that you don't give a crap about anything else. That is why it manifests into this huge disorder that you feel like you can't control. But look at how amazing you were. At 10 years old, I was able to develop this disorder that distracted me from any really painful things going on in my life. You gotta give yourself a round of applause and a pat on the back and a freaking crown for doing that, because you were smart enough to preserve that part of you, your strength, and your way to avoid the things that could really hurt you. But as I got older now, 23, 22, 21, when I started really going into this and going to therapy and facing my issues, I now know that that's not the way to deal with things, and you have to feel your feelings and process them then, because replacing it with an eating disorder, replacing it with any distraction, any coping mechanism just makes the issue bigger, makes the pain more powerful and stronger, and you have to face it later, like I have had to 13 years later. If you are struggling with an eating disorder, you have to look at yourself like a freaking warrior. You didn't just develop this because you had nothing else to do. You developed it because your inner psyche, your subconscious, knew that you need something else to consume your brain because life is too intimidating and too painful for you to deal with right now. And when you're ready, and I was only ready like 12 years later to finally face myself, that's the time. Eating disorders often develop from one onto the next, onto the next. And if you find yourself in one, I want to tell you that you have the strength to stop. And the only way is to feel the real pain. Really deal with real life, because your eating disorder is what's distracting you from it, and you will not be able to move forward. In fact, developing an eating disorder is another burden that you will have to fight, along with just the normal things in life that we all have to fight through every single day. I only have so much love and compassion for myself, and when I think about the 10-year-old me, I wish that someone had just looked at her and said, I love you so much, you are so worthy, and you are safe, and you don't have to deal with this by yourself. So I'm gonna tell that to you. You deserve so much better, and you can do better. You have the strength, I promise you. Don't ever give up on yourself, because 2 to 3 years ago, I really thought that this would never end and I'm always gonna be like this. And then I started going to therapy and working so hard and facing it, and reading books and watching videos. And in the description box below, I have tons of resources for you, and please feel free to always email me if you need help and you don't know what's going on, but it's not worth trying to figure it out on your own. I wouldn't be this person here to help you guys and make these videos if I hadn't gone to therapy, if I hadn't started facing myself and all my stuff. I wouldn't be this person. You could be this person. There's no way in hell I would have believed that I could be in recovery, face all of my issues, and be an online presence for so many other people struggling, and to have them look up to me who's had anorexia, binge eating disorder, struggled with restricting, used to never be able to go out to restaurants, used to track 24/7, who was super against going to therapy, who had terrible social anxiety, and now, I'm this person who loves to travel and loves to go out and eats out all the time and makes these videos for people. Like, it just blows my mind, and I know that every single one of you watching this has that potential. And maybe not that you have to do all of those things, but just to be in love with your own self and recover and have a healthy, loving relationship with yourself, and eat whatever the hell you want and not feel guilt. And most of all, never regret one thing in your life. I do not regret having anorexia. I'm not upset about all of the years I've struggled with my body image and binge eating and restricting and social anxiety and whatever, all those things I named. I'm not mad about any one of those moments, because I would not be this person without any of that struggle. Like I always say, I'm turning struggles into strength every single day. And thank you for being with me, and I'm with you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really proud of myself for letting myself be vulnerable and emotional, and also very proud of myself for not getting crazy emotional, because sometimes when I have these talks to myself, I'm just bawling, and it's great. But I think for a video, that would probably be a little too much. I love you guys so much. Please give this a thumbs up if it helped you at all, or if you liked it. Please share this with someone if you know that they are struggling too. And that's not because I want more views for my videos. That is not my reason for telling you this, because I wish someone had just shared something like this with me, even if I wasn't ready to hear it yet. Knowing someone cares, or knowing that there is a resource out there, that probably would have saved me just a little bit. And comment below if you have any comments, and give me suggestions for videos you want me to do. And after this episode, I will be doing my binge eating story. And then after that one, we'll take it from there. But I got a lot of stories. Definitely need to do a transformational one too. So we'll see. Love you guys. I'm very excited for my trip to Toronto with my girlfriends, and you guys will be getting a lot of updates on that via Instagram, and I will be filming there. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.
I'ma change your life, I'ma change it.
Yeah.
I'ma change your life. I'ma change your life, I'ma change it.
Hustle gang,
I'ma change
homie.
your life.